Hey guys, welcome to Jimmy's Jamming Drawing Workshop. Gotta work on the title, but that's what it is for now. It's gonna be doing like a basic cover of how you wanna draw faces, like very roughly. And this is helpful for like if you're learning to draw or if you're maybe trying to do a painting and you just can't quite get the proportions right, because that's always rough. It's happened to me more times than I would like to admit. So I'm gonna make sure it doesn't happen to you. So first, I'm going to just start with reference photos for now, because they're wildly helpful. Eventually, you're going to want to, you don't have to, I guess, but like, it's helpful to be able to kind of know how to do some of this stuff just from your head. So eventually, you might get to that spot, but for now, we're just going to use a reference photo, just try and replicate that photo right onto here. So having lovely help. What teachers will often do when you're asked to do this will be like, okay, take your ruler and start gridding, like draw lines across and then use quadrants. Personally, I hate that. I feel like it doesn't really teach you how to draw, it teaches you how to copy. It's like, oh, well, draw like the bit of the nose that's in that second. No, it's just not worth it. What I do, break the drawing down to shapes, then use those to replicate it over here. So, for this lovely, lovely picture, we're gonna start out with the most basic shape of all, a circle. So I'm gonna take my red pencil here and I'm gonna go around lightly. It's kind of hard to see, but maybe here. Pen might be a bit more helpful. Yeah. So take your whatever and just get that circle. I usually have it go kind of where the jaw starts coming down a bit more. Then next, I take a line, go straight down the middle of the face, get that facing, like that directional line. It's so helpful to have that in first. Then you get like where he's facing by putting that jaw in, and then putting that jawline in. So, just getting the rough shapes. Don't worry about stuff like a little like bump in the head here. You can come back to that later. All you really need to worry about is just the rough shape. And then now that I have a line coming down here, you're gonna want a second line coming across roughly where the eyes are. That's just like your rough directional lines. You can get that in later. Sometimes I add in a little extra like semicircle here, where like the bulk of the back of the hair is, just so I don't have to worry about the volume later on. Now that you have that, you're pretty much all set to start putting in the facial features. What I mainly will do is just I'll like sketch a bit of like a triangle around the rough shape of the nose, and then maybe add like a little mark where the mouth is. So now you have like these really rough guidelines of where everything is going to be going, and it's broken down into these like basic shapes. So helpful. So now on the other side of your paper here, you're gonna start drawing in those shapes, not on top of this guy. So let's see, we got our circle. I don't have a lot of room here to work with. I've got like standing up on this little stool here, so I'll push over the paper a bit, I guess. So we got the circle, then a line showing where he's facing. Get that chin started in there. And now we see, I like to cut down with the side of the face first. So I cut down with that. And, oh, that's a bit too close in. So grab your handy dandy eraser. Just take that out. And just try and get the shapes on the, the right side to look as close to the shapes that you outlined on the right. So now in this, we got the little chin bit here. And you can always just like go over, sketch over it later, but it's so helpful to have. So now I have like this kind of rough shape. His jaw is a bit more defined here, but I don't think it matters too much in this case. Get that up there. And where you see this bump here, that is where your eyes are gonna set. So you want, if you're drawing with that bump, you're gonna want the eyes to be set on that same line. I think I drew mine a bit high, but I don't think I want to go back and fix it right now. And now we see here that the nose trapezoid kind of sets within that, on that line. So just draw that out and go lightly with these. I'm drawing a bit harder than I normally do just because I want the camera to be able to pick up where these are going, but draw a lot lighter than I do. And then you get the mouth kind of in here. This isn't perfect, but just like kind of scribble it in a bit. Nose, I guess define these details in here a bit more. Noses are always hard for me to draw, so like, bear with me here. Get a bit of like detail there. And now we're gonna get to the eyes. The eyes are always the trickiest part for me. So I'm pulling back the red pencil. So the main trick for eyes is just knowing the proportions of the face. You're gonna want, let's see, mark out the ends of the eyes here. And usually there's roughly an eye's length between the two, and then an eye's length between that and the side of the face. But in this case, since it's not straight on, it's gonna be a little bit different. So we take this and we add our little eye blocks. I'm gonna move this side of the face in a little bit. I think I made it a bit too wide. Yeah, it's looking a little bit better. And yeah, like don't be afraid to just like kind of sketch in a new line. Like, oh, I think I messed this up, so I'll just fix it. Never feel like your art is cemented in one spot. Okay, and now you might see on this drawing, this eye seems a bit shorter than this other eye. That's because the way his face is turned, it hides this one a bit more. So now, this is how I do eyes. Pretty cool stuff. Bring in that first line here, just like the rough starter of the eye. Bring the eyelid across, and then down. That's always what I do. And then same on the other side, this like little bit of the opening of the eyelid, pull that eyelid across and down. Sometimes I'll add like little details here, but I don't usually do that at the start. And then, I don't know, the pupils or whatever they're called, pretty simple, just like scribble that in. I think I might do hair in this. No, I'll do hair in this video. So now you have basic eyes. Just add a bit of like a bottom eyelid, maybe some eye bags. I don't know, he doesn't have too many, so I'm not gonna add too many. Now, eyebrows, another tricky one, another one people can get messed up with pretty easily. I think I might go back and fix the nose in a second. I start with like where I want them to be. So his eyes are kind of like, eyebrows are kind of furrowed in this. So I start with that, and then I create the bit underneath to really like show the motion of them. And then from there, I can fill them out a bit more. But having this like the under bit done first really helps you just like see where it's gonna be. I'm gonna go back in and make the mouth a bit smaller, just to kind of fix that up a little bit, make it look a bit nicer. Yeah. So it's like rough details of a face. And then, like I said, go in, fix things that look a little wonky. Use that reference. Use the shapes you made. And if you're ever having trouble with the shapes, see, like I'm having a bit of trouble with the nostrils here. Go in with your like red pen or red crayon, and like you can outline those shapes. See how they work. See how they look when they're just lines. And then transfer that over. I'm like, oh, I made this nostril a bit too short, so I can raise it up like that, and it's starting to look better. Or maybe I need to add like a line here to accentuate that shadow. I see that here, there's more shadow. And I'll do a different shading tutorial because that's a whole nother thing. And now from here, it's just like kind of details on the face. So I usually just do facial hair kind of scribbly. Start like that. Pull it down towards the sides of the mouth. Again on the other side. And there you see, like, very rough mustache. Kind of scribbles on the chin, and then I do separate for the underneath the lip. Bring it back up here. Yeah, very simple stuff. Like, it's nothing crazy. And then never be afraid to draw like wrinkles on a face, because most people have some sort of wrinkle, and just like draw it. It's not gonna kill your art. All right, now for the tricky part, hair. Everyone hates it or loves it. I usually start with a bit of like a widow's peak here. Depending on the character, I'll make it more faint. And then I gotta finish up the forehead here. Bring that hairline across the whole forehead. Even though it's like not visible here, you can still tell that underneath the hair there is a clear hairline. And it comes down like that. So you just do the same thing over here. You bring it down like that. Hairline. I'm just gonna add some quick details to the forehead, because we might lose some of that under the hair, so it's better to put it in first. So now you just kind of follow the shape of the hair. A lot of swooping motions like this. And that really helps keep the fluidity of it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't use like sketchy lines, use strong, confident lines. But like, I don't know, especially when you're learning or you're just like doing a rough basic sketch, it's not a huge deal in my opinion. Just kind of lock those in and see with the ear here, we only have the bottom part. Pardon, let me get to the other. Only have the bottom part and then it's covered by hair. So see that kind of like goes into about here. So we have that, cover it with hair. And then, I don't know, I draw ears like that. Just kind of not very great. Then grab this other side of hair, just kind of sketch it in. I add a lot of squiggles to mine, you don't have to. Just kind of do what you want to make it feel texturized. A lot of lines to show movement, but also you don't need to draw every single line, because that just, I don't know, makes it look too complicated and just too much going on, so it's a good mix. Yeah, I think that's like pretty much just like a basic face. And then he's got a little bit of like some hair down here as well, so I'm just gonna fill that in. And then maybe just like scribble in some, not coloring, but like make it a bit darker in the hair just to differentiate that. And yeah, it's like kind of a very rough sketch. Yeah, that's how I do it. And then just add a little bit of definement. And you are all set. And always feel free to go in and add little details. I add like these little things around here. Sometimes I add like a little thingy above the nose, maybe add some more like details around how like furrowed his eyes are. Really just like go ham. And what I don't often do, but you should probably do, see people have cheekbones, right? I never define the cheekbones. It's a problem, I really should, but I feel like that's more of like a thing to do with shading, which I don't want to get into right now. But yeah, I hope you found that beneficial. Thanks for watching.